The Legacy of the Void Lycan League. La 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 la. Spotting here at the bottom left corner of the map, we have, starting with the light blue Protoss, Kifire.
And on the top right, as the yellow Zerg, it's Catz.
Alright, so Catz did something kind of abusive last game. It didn't really go the direction I thought it did. But that's kind of what's that's to me the beauty of what is the start of an expansion. Nobody really knows how to call those builds. Kifire could scout. You mentioned he didn't scout, and kind of sucks that he didn't. But even if he did, there's only so much you can really ascertain for that, because there's so many different directions things can still go. I mean, unless you see that first swarm house pop, that infestation pit could be for any 3 or 4 different things.
Yeah. That is true, but, you know, constant scouting is not necessarily a bad thing to keep an eye on. It might be a little too severe. I know that some of the people have expressed concerns over there just being too many options that, you know, and you have to scout a transition. You know, that's always going to be important, but when there's so many transition options...
Yeah, that's what makes it a little bit harder to deal with. But, again, that goes back to having observers or oracles or whatever for constant scouting.
Yeah, that does just confirm, though, that the Adept needs to be a scouting unit. Like, well, they do need the Adept.
It does kind of feel like a Reaper in the way it is right now. I mean, it's... Yeah. We'll talk more on that in a moment. Big shout out, by the way, to Beelin, or ASAP_Beelin. But the one thing I really want to clarify before we go too in-depth with anything today, guys, because we have a lot of discussion in chat, and it's good that we have discussion. I'm not trying to squelch this. But keep in mind, this is day 2 of the closed beta. There's so much things that are imbalanced about it, and it's a good thing that it's imbalanced, so you can look at how to balance it for when the game's going to go live. Beta testing. Oftentimes the testing word gets left off of that because everyone's focused on the beta. So, yes, Protoss is weak in some aspects right now, but I'm sure that gap is going to get bridged. I'm sure Roaches, Ravagers might have different time. I mean, like, there's so much that's going to get changed. If you guys remember Heart of the Swarm, so very few of the initial iterations of units, Warhound, even made it to the live client.
Yeah. But the Warhound, I think, was just it was just a boring unit more than it was overpowered. Because changing stats is relatively easy, but making a unit interesting and actually used in play is difficult. That's why sometimes they are OP. They just want you to actually use the freaking unit. But we seem to have a Ravager Ling attack, I'm gonna say. Because there are only 3 roaches, and he still has a lot of gas. It's gotta change those.
Yeah, so Ravagers, I guess, we saw the cool damage in that first game, but one of the biggest aspects is if he does make these in Ravagers, they do actually break force fields. You no longer can Protoss sit on this one base with 1 sentry, just ramp force field all day. And back at home, we do have the Adept running to bridge that gap, the Stalker waiting to hold, but no, abandoned outside the wall.
She did send out a phase, but where?
It's too late. You know, they really, I think, for that ability, they really need to let you activate that earlier, just to give it a little bit of extra control.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of like the idea that you can't, but it is too long. Like, there really doesn't seem to be a lot of micro potential with that length.
Oh my god, Yellow Ravagers look so ridiculous.
I don't really know how you're supposed to actually, again, I mean, I guess people are just gonna have to open up one base, you know? Like, yes, you have a lot of money, but they should all go into units first, apparently.
I don't like the idea of getting Immortal out of this, to be honest.
No, I agree with that. Why? I feel like the Immortal without Hardened Shields actually becomes like such a less cool unit, which isn't supposed to be the case. They got an ability that made them less A move, so they should be cooler, and I'm like, well, I don't think it is. Like, Immortals just got so weak.
I disagree, though, because it makes them better versus Lings. It makes them worse versus, like, the bigger, heavier hitting units.
Oh, but you don't want them against Lings anyway. Like, you want them against the heavy hitting units.
I'm just saying, I think the new ability gives them more versatility, I guess.
I don't know. Like, because, like, their power was not only in the damage it did against the units they were good against, but being able to survive against the units they were good against. So taking the ultra swipes or taking the roach shots. And now they can do the damage, but they can't take the hits for very long. Like, that shield really doesn't seem to do a whole lot. It just looks like the game is over, though, by the way.
Yeah. Natural base fell. The Ravagers did a lot of damage. Ravager rushes are something you guys can certainly expect to see on a lot of streams, on a lot of casts. GG is called as definitely the how do I deal with this type move. That and Cyclone seem to have most players up in arms, I guess, right now. Cyclone's definitely being, I think, the #1 tilt of most.
Yeah.
But Hey, that's 2-0 for Catz, so congratulations to him. Comes to the tournament prepared with some pretty abusive builds. And let's see, who does Catz actually move on against? Should we follow him, or do we try and grab somebody else? I was on a fight against Jade, or a name I don't recognize. But I actually like the bracket below this. Huck's playing against Neuro, and the winner of that goes on a fight against Zervas. Alternatively, HTO Mario waits for either Nurchio or Semper. And like I said, guys, round 3 is where I think a lot of the good matches are going to get down. I really, maybe Bly versus Peely Peely I would love to see too.
And I really want to see a TVT. Usually I just follow you wherever, but like I'm looking at like Miso versus the winner of QXC and Avillo, because I assume Miso's gonna win anyways. Like I don't know if you were up last night watching MMA stream, but he played a TVT against Agus. Dude, it was so sick. It was like the best TVT in Heart of the Storm, but more commonplace. Like suddenly it was happening everywhere.
Well, if we can get one, I'm all for looking at it. But for now, guys, we're gonna play an ad break. 2 minutes coming at you. Kind of a cool side note. Looks like MMA and MC are playing a best of 5 together. Not being casting or just on their streams.
That's pretty sick.
Just check that out. That'd be pretty cool. Anyways, 2 minutes of ads. We'll be back with more of the Lycan League after the break. Thanks for watching. Alright, guys, we're back. Hello. Let me turn the music down a little bit there. Thanks for watching those commercials. So right now we're looking for an opponent. I think Mario and Nurchio are going to be playing.
Okay.